substance. Those substances, the bee takes them and then they use the substance to repair the hives, maybe the cracks and all that. Are you getting the point? Yes. It is also used in some communities as medicine when you get it from now the hives. You know when the bee gets them, they do some processing of it and it turns out to be something else. Okay. Pillar 2, adaptation and resilience. Bees, you know, adaptation and resilience, you see now that interdependence of the bee and the crops, bees pollinate crops, increasing yields, and supporting biodiversity for a resilient ecosystem. And then pillar 3, mitigation. Support health, diverse ecosystem that stores what? Carbon. Value-added product, the gum arabic, harvested from acacia celebrate trees. Pillar 1, productivity and income. You can see the issue of income is coming out in every aspect, and that is the agripreneurship aspect of it. Looking at everything with an entrepreneurial what? Mindset. Adaptation and resilience, the tree is drought resistance, stabilizing soil and compact what? Desertification. And number 3, mitigation, the trees sequester carbon in their biomass and the soil. The challenge, we're talking about the challenge of land implementation. We have a figure there, and the explanation shows how higher solar radiation, wind and scarce precipitation lead to soil moisture loss, erosion and loss of. If you look at it even without looking at the figures, if you have higher solar radiation directly hitting the ground, that one will cause what? Evaporation. Evaporation, what happens? The soil loses moisture. Are you seeing that? Even without looking at the... When you talk about wind, destroys trees, carries away the topsoil in some areas that are bare. That is also some form of soil erosion. Are we together? And then when we look at scarce precipitation, lead to soil moisture, scarce precipitation. That is like you're not getting what? Enough what? Rainfall. So, yes. Loss, erosion, and loss of biodiversity practice like growing acacia tree help to break this cycle. Are we together? Yes. The science of carbon sequestration. Who can remind me what I said about what is carbon sequestration? I want to see whether we are together. I hope the definition is not here. Yes. Carbon sequestration. Very good. Clap for him. It is the process by which plants removes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and stores it in the soil. Are we together? And we have said a few minutes ago that you can use that one to earn what? Credit. And then you sell that credit to another person who is contributing now to the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Are you seeing a business opportunity there? So it's no longer a farming issue. You can also make an income from it. Are we together? Yes. So carbon sequestration is in an agroforestry system process. Tree absorbs carbon dioxide via what? Photosynthesis. We did this in biology. What is it? Photosynthesis. It's the process by which the plant makes their own food. Carbon is stored in the above ground and below the ground biomass. Some carbon is released back through respiration and decomposition. You know how it changes during the day and night? During the day they take in carbon. Then at night they end up taking what? Giving out carbon and then taking in oxygen. People from political science, are we together? Okay, so net sequestration is the balance of carbon stored minus the carbon released. Are we together? go next. Innovation, vertical farming. Vertical farming. Do you know what is vertical farming without looking at the definition? Have you seen one? Yes? Yes, you've seen one. Where? In?
Greenhouse.
Greenhouse. Yes. It's an approach where you farm using the starches. You use stacks, okay, in a vertical way. And most of the time it's done in greenhouse. And also, in most of the time they don't use soil. It's a soil-less approach. So the plants, they get their nutrition directly from soil. We have what we refer to as substrate. So you create a substrate and the plant will draw nutrients directly from that without necessarily having the soil. Okay? So cultivating crops in a vertically stacked layers within controlled environment, warehouses, like warehouses and greenhouses. And if you use warehouses, you will have to provide what we refer to as LED lights. You know, plants cannot grow without light. Okay? And then the core concept is to maximize space efficiency and minimizes resource consumption. It's ideal for urban settings, areas where land is not vast, like in towns, and areas with limited arable land. Okay? Let's go. Next. We have a figure showing a vertical farm. Hydroponic. What is hydroponic? Type of farming is just what I've explained. A soilless what? Farming. Okay? Key features: vertical stacking maximizes production in small footprint. Soilless, by the way. Hydroponic cultivation. Plants growth in nutrient-rich water, what we refer to as substrate. Controlled environment protects from pests and weather, enabling year-round production. When you're using greenhouses or warehouses, it's a controlled environment. So most of the things are locked out. So even the issue of disease infestation, pests, and then those rodents and pests that attack the plants, they are controlled. Let's go. This is now the hydroponic vertical, the vertical farm, maximizing the space and bringing about efficiency in growing crops. You can see that. So that's what we're talking about. Advanced hydroponic systems, technological driving vertical farming with key features: precise nutrient delivery, pipes and channels circulate a nutrient solution directly to the plants, optimized environment, specialized. I talked about this one. LED lights provide a need what? Spectrum for growth. Remember, you're trying to replace what? The natural lighting what? System from the sun. So you use something that is almost similar. And then closed loop systems, water is recirculated, reducing usage by up to 95%. Can you imagine? Because it's a system that recycles, okay? It's a system that recycles the water. And that is it. That's an advanced hydroponic farm, uses a vertical soilless system to deliver nutrients directly to plants, roots, optimizing growth and resource efficiency. So you will get the materials and then you can look at it into details. But this is basically what we have been talking about. You can see the vertical part of it, and then these are just modified big pipes, okay? And the water keeps on moving inside. Advantages of vertical farming, even from what we have discussed so far, you can give me several. But we have them here: resource efficiency, and I remember I said efficiency means what? Absence of wastage. Okay? Land usage over 95% less of land. Remember, we have said this kind of farming is practiced in areas where there is not enough arable land, or in urban and peri-urban areas, in towns, where land is an issue. Okay? So uses up to 90, no, uses up to 95% less water through recirculation, reduced chemicals, controlled environment limits pests, reducing need for pesticides. For example, if you have a controlled greenhouse, there are no pests, there are no diseases. You need to use chemicals. So it reduces the usage of what? Pesticides, and they have become a menace, by the way. The rising cases of cancer, they have been linked to use of pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides. Okay? That one has the research has been done and it's published. And actually it's one of the things that I did for my PhD. Yes. I was looking at the agrochemicals used on particular farm produce, like tomatoes and sweet. So here are production. Now that you are not depending on rain, you are not depending on the natural conditions, you can produce all the year round because you are not waiting for rain. Are you getting the point? You are not waiting for the sunlight. You have everything in that controlled what? Greenhouse or warehouse. So you can manage what? Year round what? Production independent of seasons and weather. Are we getting that?
Yes.
Yes, and then local food can be situated in urban areas reducing transportation emissions. For example, if people in towns, and remember, before I put across this statement, remember everything has advantages and disadvantages. So, if people in urban areas, they are able to use hydroponic and those vertical farming to produce their own farm, it means people in a country or in those rural areas, they don't need to transport the food from those rural areas to town. What will that do? Because you transport using what? The roads. The cars we use to transport, they produce carbon monoxide. Are you getting the point? So you will end up reducing what? Transportation emissions. Okay? Yes, I wanted you to get that. But now, the income for those rural farms becomes a casualty. That's what I was talking. Everything has advantages there, the positive side and the negative side. There is a figure depicting high-tech aquaponics. Aquaponics is just like hydroponics, but there is the aspect of aquaculture. Are you getting the point? It's just hydroponic, but now we are calling it aquaponics because there is the aspect of rearing of fish. So, aquaponics system, this is a tech integrated system where fish waste provides nutrients for the plants. And then plants naturally filters the water for the fish. And then sensors and automation optimizes the environment. And it's a highly efficient, symbiotic, and sustainable model for food production. Symbiotic. It means if you have a symbiotic relationship with someone, it means you both what? Benefit. So, yeah, so the plants, they filter the water, like cleaning the water for the fish, and then the waste from the fish provides nutrients for them. That is the symbiotic relationship I'm talking about. And that is it. Aquaponics, you can see the fish out there, and it's a tech-driven, like we've said, this is a sustainable and efficient model for farming. Challenge of vertical farming. Or challenges of vertical farming, some of them will convert them into disadvantages or limitations, and one of them is high initial investment. To set up one, you need a huge capital initially. Okay? So, cost of the LED lighting and hydroponic systems and climate control. Coming up with that greenhouse and putting up those systems, for them to work, you need a high initial cost, initial capital, and then energy consumption. Lighting can be energy intensive. Maybe you can use now renewable energy. An example of renewable energy? Solar. the most common. Are we together? Yes. A limited crop variety. So it's not all the crops that can be grown using the vertical. You cannot, like the huge trees. Can you use a hydroponic for the huge trees? So it's some particular crops. So limited crop variety best for leafy greens, herbs, and vegetation, not for staple crops like wheat and others. Okay? So there is a limitation. And then technical reliance, vulnerable to power outages or system. You can imagine that system depending on power, and then there is power outage. And we experience that a lot in Kenya. You get the point? Yeah. So those are some of the limitations. The future of vertical farming, technological innovations, and when you talk about technological innovations, brings about more energy efficient LEDs, AI and machine learning for real-time optimization, integration into smart cities using and utilizing urban spaces. Even if you have not seen them, by the way, if you go to Japan or China, they are using rooftops. Like you build a house, those flat roof, and then on top there, you create a greenhouse. And you practice what? Vertical and hydroponics or aquaponics. In Kenya, we use it for entertainment. So, that's on a later note. So, integration into smart cities using and utilize urban spaces. You can practice that. You have research for space exploration and colonization. Actually, people are thinking of now that you can practice agriculture that doesn't depend on soil. So it means it can be done in space. Let me see whether we are together. If we are able to do it in space, how will that be advantageous for the people now who are in space? Not Kenya. Kenya, we are here. You know, when the people who operate the satellites or those spacecraft, they are people who stay there. So, when they deplete their food and water, they need people to come from Earth and take it, and it's very expensive. So, if they can be able to farm there using these techniques, that cost of transporting or taking food to them is, and then they can also stay there longer. Are you seeing that? Are we together? Yes. And then a key solution for food production in extreme environments, desert, polar regions. So it means even the people who live in the desert, they can be able now to produce food, because the problem in the desert is water and soil. The soil there has no humus, so you cannot plant anything. Now, if you have an approach that you don't need soil, it means now you can do farming comfortably, but you will pay part a lot of money because of the high initial cost. Next. We have an assessment for farm resilience plan, and your task is to design a resilience plan for your farm. And the deliverables from that is integrates the climate smart techniques, windbreaks and rotational grazing, propose one agripreneurship activity, like moringa leaf powder production, beekeeping and all that. Plant 150 acacia trolleys, windbreaks, establish a 0.5 hectare founder. So this is an activity that you're supposed to engage in. Maybe after the training, we can form a group, and then maybe we can continue interacting. Now we see how now you can become expert in agriculture, okay? And then you can be able to undertake those tasks. Here in session, present activity, present your farm, the assumption that you've done that. So go next. Adaptation tips for your plan that you've done. Again, this is an assumption that we have undertaken. Conclusion and the way forward. In summary, we have moved from landscapes principles to practical techniques. and now to profitable business models. The future of agriculture is climate smart, resilient, and entrepreneurial. You agree with that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
You agree with that statement?
Yes.
Very good. Let's go next. Thank you for your attention. Now we can have a discussion on areas that we need clarification, we need to comment. Yes.